Welcome to Five on the Floor, the show that covers the Eastern Conference champion for the seventh time in franchise history, eighth seeded, counted out, blew a 3-0 lead, was 7-point underdogs coming into this game. The entire country wanted them to lose because they're not the franchise that belonged in the NBA Finals. Had struggling performances from their two best players for 3 straight games. And they are playing the Denver Nuggets on Thursday night, 5 on the floor, here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We're going to tell you about our sponsors, and then we're going to start because I want to let people watch some of the ring ceremony. And if you're hearing this on the podcast feed, that's why we're going to do things a little bit differently tonight. We feel like it's appropriate. Floor plan, I've got Alex Toledo. You can follow him at Tropical Blanket. I've got Greg Sylvander, very happy man right now. You can find him at Greg Sylvander. Brady Hawk 305 will be joining us tonight. He pretty much called every single thing that the Eric Spoelstra was going to do with the first half tonight. Other news, you'll have full coverage here from the 5 on the Floor team during the NBA Finals. Brady, myself, and Alex are all credentialed for all of the home games. Myself and Mateo Mayorga will be in Denver. So we have total coverage of the NBA Finals. We will get into what happened tonight. We'll get into the significance of the season. We've got Alejandro Villegas producing, and we're just going to capture the joy of this, basically. And this is, you know what makes this one different. This is not relief. It's not. Because being a footnote in history was a cute little story if you blew a 3-0 lead, but this was not relief. Winning when the big 3 was relief, okay, because you're expected to win. This is completely fucking unexpected. Okay? Not just tonight, but the whole damn thing. Because some of you wanted us to stop doing podcasts during the season because you couldn't hear about this team anymore, and we didn't want to talk about them anymore. We were tired of it. They didn't care. We did podcasts that they don't care, and they looked like it at times this season.
Bored of the process.
Don't fit. The front office got it totally wrong. They didn't replace PJ Tucker. They should have tanked for the 14th pick in the draft. Do you guys realize they're still getting the 18th pick in the draft? This is, in my view, the most incredible Miami Heat story ever told. It beats the big 3. It beats the first championship because this was not supposed to happen. This team lost its first play-in game, was trailing late in its second play-in game against a garbage team on its home floor that it had lost to 3 times this season. The Chicago unforgettable freaking Bulls were almost eliminated there. Underdogs against the Bucks. And Giannis. They had Giannis contemplating the meaning of failure afterwards. The Knicks, they're trading Julius Randle and everybody else, rioting at Sbarro. And then the third series, the Boston freaking Celtics. Nobody thought Miami was winning this series. They just lost to Caleb Martin.
3%.
The Boston Celtics, who battled Julius Erving and Magic Johnson and Wilt Chamberlain and the greats of the game, could not contain former two-way player, don't even know if it's him or his twin, Caleb Martin in an Eastern Conference Finals when he was better than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Greg.
So check this out. The Heat were not favored in any game against Milwaukee. They were not favored in the Knicks series. I'm looking at it right now. In 18 of the 19 games, they were underdogs in this run so far. You're so right, Ethan. This is completely like nothing we've seen before from this team. It is a spot they've never struck from. And I tweeted this and I have to say it here. To have your guts ripped out on the floor, to have your heart while it's beating, being held by Derek White on the court in game 6, and for that to end the way that it ended, to have the mental fortitude to go up to Boston and not just win, literally blow them out of the damn stadium. It's unbelievable. And to me, there's a part of this, frankly, that it doesn't matter what happens in the NBA Finals. This is a season that it'll be right here close to the heart forever. Getting over the Celtics hurdle, we felt like that was like the mountain you could never climb. And they finally got over this hurdle to do it up in Boston in this fashion. It's just unbelievable to see Bam and Jimmy and Spo put on the NBA Finals t-shirt and the NBA Finals hat as an 8th seed, the second 8th seed to do it. It's unbelievable. It's literally, as a Heat fan who's watched all of these playoff games, it's a run like no other.
We're not going to get into a ton of strategy tonight because to me, this was more, and we talked about this on pregame and we talked about it yesterday on the podcast. This was more about mindset. It was more about recovering from what happened 2 nights ago with the Derek White putback, which most teams would have folded against. And I think teams with expectations would have folded against. And I think that helped the Heat in this case because nobody believed in them from the first place. So why would it matter? So we're not going to do a ton of strategy tonight, but I want to give Alex and Brady 1 minute each here and I'm timing you guys tonight. Okay. We got a clock because I know Alex has got someplace to get to in Hialeah and it's past Brady's bedtime and he's got a game to cover next week. So I want to get to both of you guys on this. Okay. For 1 minute, what did Eric Spoelstra do tonight that made this possible, Brady?
Well, I'm glad you got a 12-minute introduction and we get 60 seconds. So
that's how this works.
Let me utilize my time.
I got a pack for Denver. I got to get my thoughts out now.
I think this was, I said it on Twitter, I felt like Spo's going to get overlooked in this game just because we're going to talk about everything big picture. And we're not going to talk about schematics like you said. But he came into this game and he pretty much, I thought, ran circles around Boston. Just the way he came out and we were talking about, can they figure out their offense? And they just totally leaned on defense. They come out with the usual starting lineup and they basically just go full out soft switching. And we said, we're just going to flatten you out. We may get outboarded a ton on the opposite board. So it looked a little sketchy to start the game. But they said, we're not going to stray away from it. We're going to stay with that. We're going to try to flatten them out. Not going to say it didn't help that Tatum was off ball to start that game after he rolled his ankle. But they flowed into that. Then in the second quarter, the Twitter rotation, bringing in Haywood Highsmith, and they play zone within that. Another major run. Holding this Celtics team that was an historic offense to the beginning of this regular season to 15 points in the first quarter. In a game 7 with this big storyline that I know is going on nationally, that Jason Tatum is Michael Jordan with his back against the wall. Like, that is not an easy thing to do at this point. So the way that they did that, and as much as you can talk about no schematics, we need to talk about what Caleb Martin just did in this game 7. What Caleb Martin just did is not okay. Like, it's as simple as that. It is not okay what he was just doing. This is not one of those things to start this series where we said Caleb Martin's going to just react to the defense. When they help off, he's going to hit shots. When he does it, he's going to drive. This turned into a game 7 in a pivotal game. The Boston Celtics defense was reacting to him. It was the complete flip of what they did to start this series. And he was running ISO jumpers, pull-ups, turnarounds, getting to the basket efficiently. 11 of 16 finishes the game with. It's an insane run by Caleb Martin. It was a battle of role players between Derek White and Caleb Martin, it felt like, just like going back and forth. But we cannot overlook that. It's schematics for Spo defensively, but what Caleb was able to do carrying the load offensively is bigger than anything we could talk about from this game.
Alex.
I don't even know where to start, man. Is the question about strategy?
I don't care. You know what? At this point, tell me how you feel. That's we let Brady have his minute on the strategy. He called it everything. You called everything. We're there at this point. They're in the finals. We'll deal with the Jokic thing in about 48 hours. Okay.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. And then everybody will start fighting with each other again against Bam and all the rest of this. Just give me your takeaway tonight overall. Give me anything.
Twitter civil war can be paused tonight because it's time to live in the moment for a couple of days because, obviously game 1 of the finals is in like 3 nights or whatever. So not that much time, but in this time, it is the moment to live in the moment because my God, this run is something special. It really felt like, losing to Derek White in that fashion is the type of shot that a lot of teams end up talking about, like, oh, we weren't able to fully recover from that. And I was reminded of kind of the Spurs. That's what I kept thinking about after Ray Allen and how they kind of openly talked about how, even though game 7 was a great game, very close game, the Spurs could have won. They talked openly about not being able to recover from a shot like that. And maybe it's not the same magnitude, but just a game winner in a situation like that, just a devastating loss. They came back from it, and just to embarrass a team and step on their throats like that, it really felt like, I was joking on playback, but I really felt like that Tatum and Brown and the team just kind of expected it to get handed to them on a silver platter just because they got to this point, which of course is impressive of itself. They're only the 4th team in history to do it. But man, after Tatum got hurt, it felt like, oh man, they really might do this, because they had already gotten off to a bad start. And it's like, if that guy isn't feeling himself and is ineffective, I already feel good from there, because I know from there it's just about, kind of controlling what you can control with the turnovers, which they did. I thought the defense was phenomenal, even though the offense at times, this is unbelievable. I mean, look, they hit a lot of shots, like I said, at the end of the shot clock. Caleb, Jimmy, I mean, everybody was doing their thing, even though Jimmy looked kind of hobbled. He was playing through it, and he was still very effective, right? He kind of beat the allegations, because the past 3 games he was going through it. Bam had a tough game offensively. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal on defense, and the bar is high with him. But even then, I think he was absolutely everywhere. He was taking shots that you want him to take. He still could use some polishing on his offensive game. We all know that. We don't have to talk about that tonight. Everybody did what they needed to. Caleb Martin, I mean, one of the best, one of the most underrated moves in Heat history. J. Cole needs his jersey up in the rafters. I mean, another game where Spo's game plan ends up getting vindicated. You hit just several more threes than them, and, it ended up working out in your favor at the end. And, people were pointing out on Twitter today how, all the parallels, the similarities to last year's conference finals, and how, the Celtics beat the Hawks and the Sixers on the way here. And, they lost in game 6 at home and won in game 7. And now the Heat are doing the exact inverse. It ended up being the sequel that nobody wanted to. Wow, what a trilogy. Amazing. Great stuff. The script really hit this time, but in all seriousness, you got to give the Heat a lot of credit. They just completely outplayed the Celtics from start to finish. Never let them really get back in it. They were hanging around, but they completely stepped on their throats. They thought it was going to be easy, and they just did not let them have it. I don't even know what to say. I can't believe after what happened last game that we would be in this position, because frankly, most of us, including me, had completely lost our guts.
Well, not just this game, but this season, which is where we're gonna kind of try to put a bow on this. We're gonna do pretty much everything but look ahead to Denver tonight, because I want to save that for the next 2 days.